Hello everyone, welcome to this video and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brenda. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. Today is Mindful Monday. On Mindful Mondays, we are going to go through the 8 steps of the Zentangle method of drawing. It is a meditative art form. It has benefited me in so many ways that it would take too long to go through them all. But let's just say today's focus is to bring ourselves into this moment. And the magic of the Zentangle method is what is going to get us there. So let's jump into step 1, gratitude and appreciation. In this step, I am going to talk you through a short breathing exercise, and we are going to begin with a few deep breaths. Breathing in, getting tall as you inhale, and exhale completely. And again, another big breath in. And out. One final big breath in. And relax everything down on the exhale. And now just let your breath fall into its natural breathing rhythm. And pay attention to it. Just follow it. Focus on your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Thoughts will come in, that's natural. Let that just be okay. Take notice of the thought and then let it go. And focus back on your breath. Now take a moment to think about something that you are grateful for. It can be the simplest of things. And once you have that, I want you to really think and feel that gratitude. How does gratitude feel? And remember to breathe. Now remember this feeling as we draw today. And if you reach a point where you just need a break, that's okay. Stop yourself. Pause. Take a little break. Big breath in. And then you'll be ready to start again. One final big breath in and out. And that is all there is to step 1, gratitude and appreciation. So let's talk about what we're going to use today before we move to step 2. You can see here on my little surface that I have a 3.5-inch square Zentangle tile. You can just cut a piece of paper to 3.5 inches, or you could even draw a 3.5-inch square on a larger piece of paper and draw along with me. Now, I'm also going to use a Micron PN pen. You could use any pen you like. The PN has a little bit wider nib, so it gives me a wider line, and it is plastic, so it's a little sturdier, which is something that I like, but any pen will work. I am also going to use a pencil. I have a little Zentangle pencil here, but you could use any pencil. This is a tortillon, and I'll be using this in order to blend out my graphite. And lastly, before we go on, we have our little Bijou, our Zentangle mascot, and he is reminding us that there are no mistakes. So give yourself a break and don't have any concerns at all about what we're about to do. You're going to love it. Okay, step 2 is corner dots. And in this step, we simply put a dot in each of the 4 corners of our tile. Step 3 is a border. So we simply draw a line from dot to dot around our tile and create our border. Step 4 is a string. And I am going to draw a string that I've been doing a lot of strings with the simple curved line across the center. So I'm going to do something just a touch different today. I am going to do a line. It's still going to go from corner to corner, but it is going to be more like a scallop line. So I'm not catching my corner, but that's okay. I got off center, but there are no mistakes, so I'm going to be good right there. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from the corner to one of the indents on my scallop line. Or you could start at that indent and then draw that with the line that goes to the point. So they're like rays. They start at the point and they meet up with the points of the scallop. And that's all I'm going to do for a string. So I'm going to put my pencil away, and now I'm going to pick up my pen, my Micron PN pen, and I'm going to begin step 5, which is the tangles. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to work with some fragments and reticula. And I have just show you a little bit of what we have to work with. This is a grid or a graph, a table, I guess, that Zentangle has put together with square fragments. And this is out of Zentangle's primer number, volume 1, primer volume 1. So it's kind of like a lesson book. And we are going to use some fragments from this table. Let's use this one here. M1. It kind of looks like a flower with a little frame in it. So that's going to be our fragment that we are going to use. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here. Let me draw it on this. So like I said, this is fragment M1 from the Zentangle primer. And I'm going to put a little square here. And I'm going to show you by itself what that fragment looks like. So I'm going to start with a dot in the center. And then I'm going to draw like a flower petal, if you will, that goes from the center to the corner. So we have a 4-petal flower. And then we just put a little frame border on it. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like. That is the tangle that we're working with. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And we are going to draw the reticula, which is what is going to hold our fragments. This is going to be the space that holds our fragments. We are going to start on our pencil line from our string, this scallop one. And I'm going to start by simply drawing right on top of that scallop. And I'm stopping at the borders. I don't always do that, and you can choose if you want to do that or not. And now I'm going to aura that first line I drew. And I'm auraing it to the inside or to the right side of my first line. So that's my first, that's one side of my reticula. Now I'm going to move out about 3/4 of an inch maybe from that first line and make another aura. And I'm trying to line up all the points. And then I'm going to aura that line. Okay. Now I am going to draw a line in between from point to point. And I'm trying to keep that line relatively in the same direction as our pencil lines are. And then I'm going to make some more squares in these two larger ones here. So I'm just going to cut those in half. And then I guess I can pretend that that's halfway on that one. And that's halfway on that one. I have to draw behind my border there. Okay, so now I have my reticula, which is the area that's going to hold my fragments. And remember, we are doing this fragment here, fragment M1, and we are going to put those in each of these squares or squarish shapes. We're not perfect, so they're probably not perfect squares. And I always start with a dot in the middle for a fragment like this. And go slow so that you are deliberate in your lines. Now, this frame is going to curve on the top and the bottom because that's how the reticula is drawn. So the frame is just an aura of the reticula space. And here we go for the next one. Almost like elongated figure eights. And then do the little frame aura. I can do it upside down. We notice the shape of the flower changes as the shape of the reticula or the square in our reticula changes. Each one's just a little bit different. And honestly, I think that's part of the beauty of Zentangle, is that everyone gets something different because we're all unique. fragment grows or shrinks depending on the square. This one will be a partial one. All I'd see on that one would be the tip. And this one would be the same thing. And then the frame. Okay. So there we have our fragment and our reticula. It's a little unique, but that's okay. And it's kind of like a little border, if you will. You can see it curving. It kind of changes the shape inside each square as it curves around. So anyway, we're beginning with our fragment M1. It's not exactly a tangle, but it is still a pattern. So the next tangle we're going to do down here in this section, and we're going to use a texture tangle. That's what I want to put in here, something just to give it some texture. And this is a texture tangle that I have recently fallen in love with called a maze. And it simply wanders all around however it wants. It typically doesn't cross, but again, remember, there are no mistakes. I try to keep my edges or curls a little rounded, but it doesn't really matter. It's very random. I try not to make it too predictable. Going outside my border there in order to keep my line moving. This is a pretty good size space to fill in. So take your time. Kind of locked myself in the corner there, so I broke my line, but that's okay. No mistakes, remember. To remember to leave myself a path. And I keep turning my tile too. That helps in the randomness, I think. Okay, I'm finished with mine. So it just, you see the pencil lines we drew kind of went away, but we're going to bring them back when we get to the shading, so don't worry about that. So now moving on to our third pattern or tangle, and that is an organic tangle that I like to throw in once in a while called poke leaf. So we are just going to have some poke leaf coming out here with these little short stems. Just draw a curvy line, aura it, and then I put like this upside down smile at the top. Now I'm going to go to the center and I'm going to draw a leaf shape. And I thought it'd be fun if we add a little curl to the leaf. Let's draw another one here. We're only going to draw a few of these. Put a little curl in that one. Let's draw this one over here. I think I'll draw a couple more. I'm going to draw one that's going to come up here. So it's going to have a long stem that goes behind this leaf. And I think I'm going to ignore my border here and make my leaf larger. Then we'll do one more over here. Sometimes I'll leave a little space between the front object, the leaf in this case, and the back object, the stem of the next leaf in the background here. So okay, so I have 5 leaves, and I think that's pretty good. But what we don't have is any drama in here. And you know me, I like to have some drama. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of fescue. And fescue, if you remember, is just a little stem with a little teardrop shape on the end. Let's draw one. Goes down here. Maybe one more here. I really like adding fescue in sometimes. Such a simple tangle, but I do like it. Okay, I think that's good. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pen away. I think we're done with step 5, the tangles or patterns. And we're moving on to step 6, which is the shading. So I'm getting my pencil back out now. And I'm going to begin with a maze. But I'm going to start by just kind of darkening that pencil line and then carrying it up through the pointed section in the reticula, fragment reticula section. So now I'm going to do this one. And then there will be this one. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up my tortillon and I am going to blend this graphite out down the center and then a little on each side. Okay, let's do the rest of them. This one appears to be drawn a little wonky, but remember there are no mistakes, so I'm not going to be concerned about it. And I'm just going to trust the process. It'll look fine when it's done. There's that third one. Okay, so now I'm going to get my pencil back out. And the next thing I'm going to do is draw a line of graphite. And by draw, I mean just using small circular motion, drawing right next to this bottom line of the reticula that we drew. And then I'm going to come up here and I am going to do the same thing underneath that top line of our reticula. And then I'm going to reinforce the center line. Okay, now back with my tortillon. I'm just darkening up the center. Okay, and now I'm going to blend out what we put underneath our reticula. And I'll come up here, do the same thing up here. Let's see how we're doing. That doesn't look too bad. Now I've got a fair amount of graphite left on my tortillon. So I'm going to go ahead and, without adding more graphite, just lightly put some graphite on the top aura of this reticula section. Maybe even just lightly on the bottom too, but not too much. I want to make it too dark. Then maybe I should get my pencil back out. And I should put a little bit on these lines that go between each of the grid spaces. Missed that one the first time. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good with that. Now we're going to go up here to our poke leaf. And I am going to put a small amount of graphite underneath each of the smiles. That's the first thing I'm going to do. And it might even be all I need for these. It's not too many here. Okay, now with my tortillon again, I am going to blend that out. And then I kind of blend down and around the stem. And you're going to want to do a line next to this folded section. So let's do that again with this one. I'm kind of blending this graphite around the perimeter, the outside of the leaf, but leaving a light spot in there for some sort of a highlight, just to have a light next to our shadow, because that's kind of the whole point of shading, is to create some contrast. If everything's dark, there's no contrast. That's why we have to try to watch our graphite, or at least I do. I know I do, because I have a tendency to just put too much on. Now I'm just putting a little bit wherever these stems meet up or go behind this section here. So I think we're good with that. Now I might do just a couple little fancy shading for our fescue. So you just kind of like mimic that and then have it, bring it down to touch the line. I don't know if that helps or not, but there we have it. If you wanted, you could just kind of go over the pencil line of the border here. I don't think we need it above, but I don't know what this is. Of course, remember, Zentangle is abstract, but it almost looks like an old-fashioned little basket with flowers or greenery or something, with a nice little border of flowers. And then you can imagine this just being a textured piece of paper or a textured piece of metal or something. Oh, there I go with my imagination. So this is today's tile. I don't know that it has an up or a down. It's kind of drawn on the diagonal. But step 7, our next step, is to sign and initial our piece. So I'm going to begin with my chalk or my initials. I'm going to put those on the front. But where should I put it? I don't know. I think I won't mess with my design too much. I'm just going to put it right down here. Or let me do it here where my line kind of went outside the border. And I am just going to draw a stylized B and C. And then I usually try to put a few perfs around it. Perfs are just a little decoration. And there is my initials. Then we're going to flip it over and I'm going to sign it. and I'm going to date it, but I'm going to do that off camera. And then I like to list my tangles. So we began with the fragment M1, and then we drew a maze, and then we drew poke leaf with our little added fold on the leaf, and then we drew fescue. And then you can put any notes you like on the back as well. And I'm going to make a note that I created this for my Mindful Monday 69. And that is step 7, sign and date. Initial and sign. I do, however, recommend you always date your work because it's really nice to go back and see the difference between what you're drawing today and what you might draw in 6 months from now, or what you drew 6 months ago. It's kind of fun to look back. So we have gotten through 7 of the 8 steps. Step 8 is simply to sit back and appreciate. Again, we started with gratitude and appreciation, and we end with appreciation. And hopefully you will take time to appreciate that you made something kind of fun. You took some time for yourself. Hopefully you found yourself back in the moment, not worrying about anything else, not thinking about other things besides just drawing our patterns. And we have a couple of things in there that someone might think is a boo-boo, but we're going to remember that there are no mistakes. And hopefully you like what you drew. So that, my friends, is the 8 steps of the Zentangle method of drawing. And I hope you drew along with me. You know, I love to see what you do. So if you do draw and post on social, just tag me and hopefully I can find it and get back to you with some love and let you know how much I appreciate you watching along. And I do appreciate each and every one of you, especially if you are still here with me. So that's all I have for today. And I will leave you, as I always do, with this reminder. Till next time, be you and be happy.